All right, on to the install. The first thing we're going to do is remove the bumper to give us easier access to it down there. And removing the bumper starts with removing this right here. In order to do that, we turn our ignition on, and down here by our fuse panel, there's a little button here. We're going to hold that in, and it raises our spoiler here. Once you have the spoiler up, you can see these three black rivets here. They are little punch-out ones similar to what's under the car. You can see in the center is a little hole you have to knock out. So I've never done these before, so let's take a little punch and push in. Let me set my camera. I've heard these are very difficult to get out, so we're going to find out. We're going to use this punch, support the back of the spoiler with one hand, and try to press the center in. Okay, it went in a little. Let's see if that's enough. Use a plastic pry tool so we don't scratch up our paint. Okay, that went all the way through now. See if it makes a difference. The problem is just getting something under here to start it. And now we're going to knock the other two all the way in. Let's go ahead and knock the pin all the way into this. We'll get them out later. There we go. Massage it a little, work these a little looser. Ha! That's the secret. Get them all out and massage this thing. I can just pull it out with my fingernails. Yes. All right, take all three of those out. All right, another tip if they're really stuck in there and hard to get is just stick the punch in there and wiggle it around. Then its lip will separate. You'll get a separation that you can get your nails under now. All right, after all three rivets are out, you should be able to lift this straight up, supposedly. Okay, let's show you over here. So I started pulling on it in this back. The back is hooked around the ledge here. So after you lift it up, this back edge will come off. So this side, try to lift it up and then slide it back a little. That releases this edge right here. We'll just slowly work it off of the edge all the way down. Let's see what it looks like over here. There we go. So this comes off. Set this down. And this is the tube that goes up and down, raises and lowers the spoiler through here. We have to take that out. Looks like it's a hex head. And then one on the other side over here as well. And those little clip pieces that we pushed out should be in there. Hopefully we'll find them. Okay, it seems like this is a 5mm, and I just happen to have this thing, so we'll give it a go. And I've heard that they're on there really tight. There we go. Because it's got a lot of Loctite on there from the factory, supposedly. Keep it on here. Aha, there we go. So that's what it looks like. Yep, had a lot of blue Loctite on there. So now we take off the other side. Broke that one loose. Got that one in its washer. All right, I think we can, oh yeah, just very easily lifts off right now. And here are pins. Where are they? Oh, there they go. 1, 2, 3. They just fell out in my hand, so keep those. All right, now that we have that off, we can see that there are 1, 2, 3 Phillips screws here. So we're going to just unscrew them. They're solid, I think. They've been there for 21 years. Squeaky, but we got them started. Alright, I'm also going to go ahead and magnetize my screwdriver now so I can capture that better. If you haven't seen these things yet, they are pretty awesome. You can stick it in the magnetized part and the tool's instantly magnetized. Okay, back to our screw here. Finish him up, and we got him on a magnet. We'll leave him right over here with our other guys, and then take off the other two. Okay, that's as much as we can do from the top now. Lift the car and take the rear wheels off for easier access. All right, after our wheel is removed, if you look right under the car here, you'll see that there are 2 more Phillips fasteners. So we're gonna take those off. Dirt's coming out of there. I guess the washer is part of the bumper. Alright, first we have to remove this little 10mm plastic nut. Okay, now with that one loosened, we can just pull this back away from this inner wheel well liner. Separate them. Okay. Now we can go do the same to the back on the other side. Okay, underneath there are 2 more of these little Phillips, one on each side of the pipe. Here's the other one over here. So we'll take those off. And oh, by the way, these things do come off. These are just really stuck on. There we go. So these pop off, and they're washers for our bolts, the screws that came out of there. Okay, now that we removed this corner and it's pulled out, we should be able to just slide this whole bumper straight backwards. Okay, now before we pull the bumper off, if we go right back in the middle to this center one where we removed this center screw, if you feel under there, you'll be able to feel a little notch sticking out, and that is something, there's a little release that you can click on. And you're going to want to push this thing in. It's the little wiring harness for the lights, for the license plate. So if we can supposedly right under here, under this lip, I can feel it, and I can feel those little tabs. So here I'm clicking. If I can get those little tabs pushed in, just kind of knock this thing into the bumper. To detach it, it'll give us enough slack when we take the bumper off. So I'll stretch this wire, and I'll show it to you, and you can see it when we finally get this thing off. But just gonna push that tab and push it in, working it up and down. Very stubborn. I have to go in with a screwdriver and work on it. A little more access. I took my punch that we used earlier, and I was able to press down on the top of it with this thing, and using my other hand at the same time, get it pushed back inside there, so we'll see that in a minute. Okay, next we got to remove these things, which is a 6mm Allen. So we fit this up under here. And when he comes out, this will come off, and you can see this was, well, this way. This was in here like this, holding this thing on. Alright, after those are off on both sides, we need to take off the two license plate lights. They have two Phillips screws holding them in. Two. Pry this box off. Pull the rubber pieces up, separate them. Get to our housing, and that clip already popped off. So we'll remove one more electrical connection here. Okay. We're gonna have to put our bulb back in. It fell out. So I bet my light has been out for a while because this casing right here is broken where this connector is supposed to go into, so I'll need to fix that anyway. Okay, after that's removed, we can shove this part back up into the hole in the bumper cover. Alright, and repeat it on the other side. Now, after all of that stuff is off, it should slide right off. So, let's see. Right. Comes off very easily. Set this in the grass so it doesn't get scratched. Now this is that clip that we undid, but that was unnecessary since we undid the lights from down there. So I'll show you, this is the hole that it clipped into right here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and clip it back in. So yeah, that has a connector we could have undone there, right here, instead of undoing the lights. If you want to leave the lights in, you can unclip this from behind like I did before, and then while you're holding the bumper, if you have another person here, you could unclip that. Just take that all the way from the bumper at the same time. So there are two options for you. Okay, to get these things back in, I just set the rivet in by hand and started that by hand, and then I'm just taking a screwdriver, the butt of the screwdriver, and just pressing this thing in. And can't do it with one hand and holding the camera, but just support the wing as you're doing it so you're not pushing it back, and then just press that into the hole carefully.